Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/AntiMLM. Huns on a plane. Well, I'm on a plane from Atlanta to Louisville, and it's packed full of prove-it Huns fueled by ketones or whatever. They have some conference or something this weekend. One is attempting to recruit the entire plane to her downline. Seriously, it's a 747 with at least 60 Huns on board, and they're all talking about their products. Thanks, Delta. The airline, not the virus. That's gotta be fun. I would not enjoy being trapped on a plane full of people trying to recruit other people. Ugh, that gives me the same vibes of somehow being on like the bus for like a school trip, but for some reason you are not on that school trip. Like, you were just taking public transit and somehow ended up on a bus full of students going to a school trip. Like, it has that kind of vibe in my head. And it just does not sound pleasant. Not sure if I had an interview with an MLM, could use advice. I just had an interview with a company that sounded promising from the posting. Their name is Worldwide Events Inc. I was really excited, but when the Zoom interview started, after we chatted for a couple minutes, he said that there was another person that would be coming on as well. I thought at first it was someone else who worked there, but it was actually another lady also applying. This was a red flag for me. He did say the second interview, if we were picked to move forward with the process, would be one-on-one with someone who is currently growing with the company, so would be able to ask more questions and hear about what they like and dislike about working there. The rest of the interview was essentially him talking about what their organization is about and the clients that they help. All of this sounded good. He also talked about some of the process and said they're growing and need more people to come on board to oversee the operations of individual clients. This organization works with nonprofits and charities. This part seemed like it could be potentially okay, but also a possible red flag. He said that unlike a lot of places who don't offer benefits until 90 days after that, they can hook you up with a broker from day one who can get you inexpensive health care, but that at a certain point, the company would cover all costs and all the benefits would kick in, like 401k. Again, this seems a little sketchy to me. Finally, he said there's two options for payment. The first is a traditional salary that could range from $600 to $900 a week, or the second option is a commission-based option. I would have the ability to start out with the salary option, but switch to the other if I saw more potential. I pretty much have only had experience doing freelance work, so this is the first time getting back into the workforce in over a decade. I don't know if these things are actually red flags for an MLM, but some stuff does seem sketchy. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. What products or services does the company provide? If you have no idea of the answer after or before the first interview, red flag for an MLM. If all the answers the man gave you are so vague you don't even know what your job is, red flag for an MLM. This guy said you have to wait until the second interview to ask questions, red flag for an MLM. More than one person applying at the interview and all the vagueness, red flag for an MLM. Never actually telling you what the salary is, just some numbers thrown about, commissions flag. Did you Google the company name? Worldwide Events? I have done event planning. I worked for an event planning company. I knew at the very first interview more about the company and my potential earnings than this guy gave you. If you have nothing to do on the day of the second interview, go for giggles, but realize it is probably not a good job. Post a follow-up here. Worldwide Events sounds like one of those super vague MLM names. From your post, it feels sketchy. Supposedly, they work doing events to help nonprofits get funding, but beyond that, I was very confused about anything. He just rambled on a bunch of stuff that in the end I felt confused by. They do have a website, but there's no real information on their website. It's mostly about working for them. Also, I ended up looking on this other website that had reached out to me, and they both supposedly represent the same charity that he was using as an example of who they helped get big. Both companies also had very similar websites, which seemed creepy when I was looking at them more. I don't think I'll be going any further with them. Thanks for your input. I found this by searching Worldwide Events Scam. It's involved with Amway. Thanks for sharing. I've already told you about the whole Cutco thing that they set up an interview with me for. Now, I think honestly one of the biggest things that you should always be aware of when it comes to this stuff is like, why are they only talking about vague things that they do? Because every time that I've gone to an interview, yes, they have like a little blurb about what they do, but usually it's very focused on what you can bring to the table. So if this interview is all about trying to sell you the job, that's kind of odd. Just gonna put that out there. Sister joined It Works, really shocked by her behavior, need to vent. So my sister is in financial ruins to the point that she is letting a religious coalition assist her with rent and utility bills. She regularly hounds my mom with text messages, freaking out about how she's going to pay for anything, causing my poor mom so much anxiety she is coming to me about it. She also implied to my mom that she was fired from her regular job, and my mom pieced together that no, she basically quit. She also somehow tricked my mom into being a fake customer. Basically, my sister had it shipped to my mom so she could pretend my mom was part of her team. My mom literally wants nothing to do with it. I just never thought my sister was this kind of person. The thing that gets me the most is she's literally living off of child support and financial assistance from a religious organization while making posts on social media about how lucky she is to be making money from her phone and how much better it is than working a regular job. She's lying to people, acting like she's doing great, making all this money when she's actually in dire straits and throwing money away on a scam that, from what my mom has told me, has made her less than $100. And that's not even netted against whatever she has paid into it for startup fees and products. So I would think her net profit is actually negative. I'm just at a loss. It's one thing if you want to go bankrupt, pretending an MLM scam is a profitable source of income, but it does not sit right with me to be surviving on the assistance of others to do that, while also being dishonest to others about how great it is so that they can also be deceived into joining a scam. The fact that my mom is coming to me saying she doesn't know what to do when my sister bombards her with text messages and feels guilty somehow is the gross cherry on top. And the thing also is she could have asked my dad for help, but she refuses to because he thinks she still has her job, and she doesn't want him to find out the truth. On some level, I get it. I was recently struggling with credit card debt, but when someone suggested to me that I get assistance from the religious coalition, I knew that would be wrong to make strangers responsible for my poor planning and decisions. So I ate my pride and asked my dad for help. And now I'm getting a night job to do after my day job so that I don't have to do that again. Ultimately, it's all none of my business. I'm not involved, and I won't be getting involved beyond providing my mom with emotional support, but I just needed to vent. I never would have thought my sister was capable of this. This is frustrating, and people act weird when they get into this stuff, and it's just kind of where their mind is that they get so stuck in this, and it's like when you were a child and they always showed you on TV the characters who would get into deep, deep lies, and the whole point of it was like you had to make a bigger lie to cover up your last lie. Like, that's where this girl's at, and it's costing her very real life things, and that's really disappointing. On a slightly lighter note, I have a friend who has been selling Mary Kay, and I've already made it clear like my opinions about it, but like I'm not gonna go like be annoying to her or anything. And so I just don't follow her like Mary Kay page. And a friend of mine actually, I guess, follows or was added to the group or something. And she's also very anti-MLM. And she sent me this picture, and it was like one of those really obvious Photoshop type of like really bad before and afters. And it was just like, it's really surprising coming from someone who she's actually good at makeup. Like, this girl is actually good at makeup. She seems mostly reasonable, but like trying to pass that off, I was like, oh, really? Like, you too? Like, really? I feel like that's a bit low for you. Why are you doing this? Don't do this. It's embarrassing. Didn't realize Primerica was a scam. One of their workers saw me put in my SSN. Should I be worried? So my neighbor works with Primerica and looped me into talking with her higher up about financials and savings. I was on Zoom with her earlier today, and we were filling out a form about beneficiaries. I didn't completely fill out the form, but the worker did see me put in my social security number. It wasn't until 5 minutes ago that I found out that they're a pyramid scam and are a shady company. Should I be worried? I know Primerica is the kind of scam as it is a pyramid scheme, but are they going to use my SSN without my permission or take money out of my account? Help. Edit. Wasn't sure if there's a better thread to put this post. If someone has a better idea for me to put this so I can get some advice, that would be great. You'll be fine. And if you aren't, your state's insurance department would be happy to hear of any products they issue for you without your signature or consent. I agree with the previous comments, but would add that it is always good to lock your credit. Unrelated to Primerica, more of a security measure at all times. It's a relatively easy process. Unfortunately for the general public, the type of scam that Primerica is into is perfectly legal. Fortunately for you, that means they're not likely to bother with the illegal stuff like stealing SSNs, so you're probably going to be fine. Maybe keep an eye out for a bit just in case, but I really wouldn't worry about it. Not gonna lie, that scared me too when they said that. I do. Sometimes I become paranoid, like when they have you put your SSN for stuff and then they don't hire you, or they hire you for a short period of time. It's like these people who, for example, okay, I worked at a place where I would not trust these people to do much at all. So the fact that they have access to my personal information is highly concerning, but the reality is most people aren't going to do anything with it, and if they do, obviously there are repercussions and courses of action that you can take. And thankfully in this situation, it's not just like they were fishing for your personal information. They actually wanted you to join their thing and everything like that. So yeah, you're probably fine, but it did freak me out too at first when I read that. I was like, oh my gosh, what if they do? And then reading the comments and the panic fading from my brain helped me realize it's probably fine. Also, fun fact, people's working memory and their ability to keep numbers in their head is typically not super fantastic. So unless if that person was like trying to get your SSN, it's not likely that they remembered after like a minute. So you're probably good. Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you are interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check that out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye! Thank you.